And we are live, man. Hey guys, welcome to the Loreverse live show where we talk about things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and fantasy. We have a really cool docket for you guys. Look, I'm trying 3:15. I want to get it after. I want to try like an afternoon show and see how it does. See how it performs, etc., etc. I feel like everybody records at 8, 9 o'clock, 7. So I wanted to get the afternoon in to see what people think, and I might try 12 o'clock the next week regardless. And if you're at work, you can listen or watch back later on. Totally up to you. But we do have a filled docket to talk about some things tonight. I hate the word docket, but like we do have some topics to cover tonight. And I'm pretty excited. There's a lot of Doomsday news out there. There's a lot of there's some DCU stuff, some Harry Potter stuff that I'm into. Star Wars dropped some stuff today, and I was just like, bro, really? So we're gonna cover that. But first off, we're gonna get into Chris Evans and Avengers. So if you don't know, the rumors going around is that Chris Evans has reportedly started filming. So let's get into some of the info around this. So, filming updates. Reputable insiders such as Daniel RBK, they have reported on social media that the filming for Chris Evans scenes had began in August. And some outlets, they have reported that filming took place also earlier in the year. Now, in August 2025, there's been reports indicating that Marvel Studios used a code name to really like hide Chris Evans' involvement, and the rumor was that the code name was Luke Cage, which a lot of us knew. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago, and that's circulated, although it has been debunked by some sources as an unverified detail. Now, reunion with the Avengers filming for Chris Evans is reportedly taking place alongside scenes featuring RDJ, who is confirmed to return as the villain for Doctor Doom. And then just from a broader story implication, right? One of the popular rumors is talking about that, Doctor Doom is hunting people who caused incursions, which could include the older Steve Rogers who altered the timeline in Avengers Endgame. And this would obviously put Steve Rogers in direct conflict with, Doctor Doom. So I personally believe this to be 100% true. And, if the house is going to be built, is being like built on the set, or that it has been built on the set, then it does support the idea of Doctor Doom possibly pulling up to Steve Rogers' house to confront him. And I think that Steve Rogers being in this movie is evident. And as I've said, right, and like I heard someone say, the way you have to view Avengers Doomsday is it is a part 3 to Infinity War and to Endgame, and that's really the way that I'm viewing it, because it is the same directors, and with having not a lot of good tissue to use, I think they are going to use the things from Endgame to make sense. And I have nothing against that, but I do think that Steve Rogers is one of the causes, and I think Steve Rogers also is possibly going to play, if he doesn't get killed like in the beginning. I think he could even possibly play a deeper role that is not just going to be connected to Doom, but also think his connection could also be to He Who Remains, aka King the Conqueror. Because I really do believe that Steve Rogers encountered some type of greater force when he was taking those stone backs. Whether if it was He Who Remains or King the Conqueror or anyone in that level of power, I think that Steve might not have returned them stones and kept them. I think there's something fishy and weird going on, because you never know. And also, like, think about this, right? Where would Steve have to put like I was, just watching it back, like where would Steve Rogers have put the Soul Stone on Vormir? Like, would he just have sat it there? I don't think he's giving it to the Red Skull. You know what I mean? And some people say that the Red Skull was freed after, what's called it, after Gamora was killed. But I mean, who knows what's going on there? You know what I mean? And I think that when Steve Rogers went to return the stones back, there was other weird stuff going on, with branch timelines on that. So I think it's a mess. And I'm saying I think it's a mess in a good way, because we don't know which road that they're going to take with him returning returning the stones and all that. And I think one of the reasons why they possibly might have never went back to do the project of returning the stones, because I was even thinking this through in my head, like, guys, imagine the multiversal rules that they would have to make it make sense. You know what I mean? It would be like, yes, they could return the stone back to the ancient one. That could possibly work, but what about all of the other timelines? Like, I don't I don't think it works like that, where you can just return it to where it was. Definitely a stone like the freaking soul stone. I just don't know how that will work on Vormir. So I don't think he gave up all of the stones and all of this stuff. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But that's just me throwing my theories out. I think something weird is going on behind the scenes with Steve Rogers, and some people will tell me, "Oh, this is out of character for Steve Rogers." It's out of character for Steve Rogers to selfishly spend the rest of his life with Peggy Carter. Steve Rogers has never, he has rarely been selfish in the MCU. And just imagine, right? The one time Steve Rogers is selfish, this happens. Like, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's actually pretty hilarious when you really think about it, right? The one time bro was selfish, it destroys darn near the whole. It's one of the causes that destroys the multiverse. It just sucks to be Captain America, man. It just sucks. All you wanted to do was be with your chick, and you being with your chick has low key cooked the entire multiverse. But that's the way heroism works, man. Now, heroes work. Sometimes you're cooked, sometimes you're not. All right, now let's get into the next topic here. The Punisher, man. So let's talk about the Punisher and Spider-Man Brand New Day. And there's a lot of stuff we're going to cover a lot of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So there's so much to talk about with Spider-Man. So as you know, John Berthal, he's officially reprising his role as Frank Castle, the Punisher, right, in the upcoming film Spider-Man Brand New Day, where he's rumored to have a significant role beyond a cameo. And this marks a major development for the character, who is transitioning from the Netflix series to the MCU, as we've seen him. Obviously, he's in the MCU now. So here is what is known or heavily rumored when it comes to the Punisher's bigger role. So we know that this is going to be a central street level storyline, some of it. Following the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter Parker is, on his own, focusing on street level crime in New York. And the Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, who is the president, he confirmed that the story we will see is Spider-Man dealing with grounded threats. And with his brutal street level approach to crime, the Punisher is a perfect foil for a more inexperienced and morally driven Spider-Man. And he is looked at to be the central antagonist, sorry. And also, like, with him being the antagonist, he's possibly going to be an uneasy alliance for Peter Parker Spider-Man. And the Punisher is going to be a major antagonist for Spider-Man. And he has been in the comics too, with kind of and like, if you were to look at Frank Castle's like first appearance, right, in the Amazing Spider-Man, right, you see that there is a tension kind of dynamic that Peter Parker and the Punisher have, where Peter low-key like don't like him, you know what I mean, and that's what I think we're going to see there, right? And so here's some stuff, right? Insiders like Daniel Rickman, he suggested that, the Punisher could act as the central antagonist, or at least a major one driving the conflict through his merciless vigilantism. There's been early reports that also, as I talked about, a team up against a mere destructive threat, like a more bruised version of the Hulk, and this will force the two of them to put aside their moral differences and solve the problem. This is also a different kind of threat for Spider-Man and the Punisher's methods, right? If we all know, right, they're so different from how Spider-Man, acts. Peter has a no-kill rule, right? So this is automatically going to create a big moral conflict between the Punisher and Spider-Man. And other leaked information suggests that the Punisher will hunt villains like Scorpion, forcing Spider-Man to intervene and prevent him killing them. And this would likely bring Spider-Man right into conflict with the Punisher. And there's also a potential look for advanced technology for the Punisher. We could argue that's already confirmed because the dude has a freaking tank. And the rumors from a lot of sources, they suggest that the Punisher will be upgraded with new technology. And this could be linked to the Department of Damage Control, or maybe even putting him in an Iron Man style suit at some point in this movie. Spider-Man Brand New Day is going to be a really darker tone, and the involvement of the character, like the Punisher, this points towards a darker, more mature tone for Spider-Man Brand New Day compared to the previous trilogy, where it was a little more kiddish to me. You know what I mean? So John Berthal has reportedly insisted that Frank Castle's core and violent nature will be kept in this new movie. And this is, and honestly, this is going to be a test for the MCU street level heroes, with other street level characters also returning to the MCU, right? This includes, the Daredevil and all these characters, right? This will make the Punisher's actions have larger ramifications for the future of the new MCU street level stories. So I really think that this is laying the groundwork, but I do have to be clear. The reports of a larger role, specific plot details, these are all rumors and leaks. It has not been confirmed. But, these rumors and leakers have been right about a lot of stuff, so they're probably right. So I think the Punisher being in Spider-Man New Day was obviously a golden idea, and a lot of fans, including myself, didn't really see that is happening. Definitely after Daredevil Born Again, because, I was like, I see the route that they're going, and I thought that, John Bertholt's focus was going to be more on that Punisher solo Disney Plus special that he has. But they were just like, yo, we're gonna have you knock this out and we're gonna put you right in Spider-Man, which I like. John Bernthal is getting a lot of work. And so I do think that this movie is going to lay the groundwork for what the future of the street level stories are. And I think that we might possibly see a situation where we are going to get, characters like Daredevil and Punisher going from, the TV show to movie format, and they're going to go back and forth, which I think will work because those are characters that are, they have enough talent to be in shows and in the movies. Like they are that good. And I was watching or I was reading some tweets and I saw the redacted Spider, who this dude is really on point with a lot of Spider-Man stuff. And he pointed out, like, one of the facts that Spider-Man isn't going to be on this like respected time. How you doing, sir? Like all of that crap. And that he's kind of going to be he's kind of going to basically despise the Punisher, and we are going to see them beef throughout the movie. And like one of the things about Spider-Man that we haven't seen in the MCU a lot is that Spider-Man is an edgy character. Like he is one to punch someone in the face sometimes if they piss them off. And honestly, a lot of heroes that Peter Parker that doesn't agree with, they piss him off to no end too. So I'm excited to see how Spider-Man is going to crash out and how their conversations are going to go. Now, I do think they will both be teaming up in the end against a villain. I don't know who the villain will be. Will they be going up against the Hulk? Don't know. But I also really think, right? I saw another piece of news that Mark Ruffalo is doing a lot of his screen cap work and all that. And I thought that, it's funny. We haven't heard Mark Ruffalo talk about this movie one time. And, and I'm just saying this. Mark Ruffalo's been keeping his mouth shut. And I think it is because they are planning something super crazy over there with Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I think the movie that we think it's going to be, it's nothing like what we expect. And we're about to get into some Spider-Man Brand New Day theories. And that's going to cover a little bit more about how I feel about like this movie not being what we think. But they're cooking, man. They're obviously cooking. So let's get into some Spider-Man Brand New Day theories here. So give me a moment to break all of this down and really just tell you guys how I feel. So we all know that Tillman is apparently cast in the movie. We also know Downey has been rumored to be in This Is Doom. And here's the interesting thing. Tillman was rumored to be casted as Kang months ago. Now, remember this, right? He Who Remains unleashed the multiverse. And in the Loki season 1 finale, Sylvie kills He Who Remains, breaking his control over the timeline. This immediately causes the sacred timeline to branch and expand into an infinite multiverse. And this creates countless new timelines and possibilities of new Kang variants. So this post-credit scene, so basically, right, the post-credit scenes of Ant-Man and the Wasp, I think you guys have to understand, we cannot just write off the Kang stuff that's happened. I still think the Kang stuff is valid, and I still think they're going to use that as a drawing point to get to the Doctor Doom stuff. And I also think after we see Doctor Doom, some of the Kang stuff will still be used. Like I don't think he's just cooked like that. But anyways, in the post-credit scene, right, of Ant-Man, we see the Council of Kangs, and they're composed of a bunch of variants, and they've been watching the events unfold and preparing to attack the main MCU timeline. Now that we know that, this could mean that we could possibly have a Kang variant in our MCU timeline. And it's strongly speculated, right, that Doom will kill Kang possibly in this Spider-Man movie. Now, to make it even crazier, right, here are some things about Sadie Sink. Now, this is from the Den of Nerds. I don't want to steal his theory, but it kind of sent me on a rabbit trail, and I was like, holy crap. So think about this. He said this, that obviously, that look, before I get to what he says, we all know she's been rumored to be Gwen Stacy. She's been rumored to be who else? Mayday Parker. She's been rumored to be MJ, right? Now, and she's also been rumored to be Jean Grey. And I know a lot of people are like, why the heck would Jean Grey be in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Think about this. And this is from the Den of Nerds, right? Now, there was some type of thing that came out, I'm pretty sure, where it said Sadie Sink's character is apparently going to have an unrecognizable name. Like we're not really going to know who she is. And when they said that, it really had the Den of Nerds thinking, okay, like this could really lean in the way of Jean Grey, kind of modeling this idea, right, of Black Panther and Spider-Man popping up in Captain America Civil War. Maybe Jean Grey popped up in Spider-Man Brand New Day is a similar thing. But here's the craziest part of this theory, though. His theory is that, what if Sadie Sink is a Jean Grey variant, that's the role she's playing, and she's having dreams of her variants dying, which causes her to somehow get involved in the story, which helps set up this idea of the X-Men and mutants popping up somehow. Maybe in our MCU timeline, maybe leading up to Doomsday. I'm not sure. But that really had me thinking about this. Or what if even Peter Parker's possibly having dreams too, just like the dreams that Doctor Strange had. What if a lot of the people in our MCU timeline, they are seeing their variants die on other Earths due to incursions, due to unforeseen situations happening, due to the multiverse collapsing. They are seeing things that they aren't supposed to see. What if? I'm not even going to say what I was going to say because that might not be right. But I'm going to say it anyway. It would be crazy if, like, an incursion is happening if you're having visions of the person on the other. Now that would be insane, but that's probably not true. Just a cool thought I had. Now I could be totally wrong here to even believe what the Den of Nerd is saying. But I think that some of this holds some weight, and I think some of this is very interesting because the question that I have is, like, if Sadie Sink was just a regular MJ or Gwen or whatever, I don't think they would be hiding that. And I think that, like, the way that they are Sadie and, like, Zendaya and Tom Holland, Spider-Man and MJ, they are such a force that why would you replace that with Sadie Sink's character? I just don't see it. And I think that, like, if you're hiding a secret role, then there's some type of futuristic role for this character, for this actress in the MCU. And I believe that, she could possibly be Jean Grey, but a variant. And this could paint the idea that, yes, on the outer, right, we see Spider-Man Brand New Day being a, street level movie. But what if it's not just a street level movie? What if we have a street level movie happening while other things are happening behind the scenes too? And they might use Spider-Man Brand New Day to help push some narratives with Dr. Doom. Now, a lot of fans could take that, like, just say all of a sudden the words, right? Somebody could be mad and say, "Oh my gosh, they are using Spider-Man again to push the plot." I would say, what's wrong with that? I would say Spider-Man is the most important character in the MCU right now. Why wouldn't you, want to use him and his movie to push some of the Doctor Doom stuff? Why wouldn't you not want to see Doctor Doom before we get to Avengers Doomsday? A lot of people have been crying saying, "Oh, like, we haven't gotten we haven't gotten a build up." But then when there's possibly a chance for some type of build up, people want to cry. That's the thing that I fail to understand about fans is that, like, the things that fans cry about when the MCU tries to do it, they get mad. The same thing and that's why Multiverse of Madness makes me go crazy because a lot of people were saying that they wanted to see the multiverse characters, and then when they had them, people wanted to cry about it. But more of the crying of Multiverse of Madness, more of the crying of America Chavez, more than that. But anyways, but, like, I think they're possibly trying to really find a way to make Sadie Sink important. And what other way to make Sadie Sink's character important is if she's Jean Grey? Because how the heck would that connect to Spider-Man? And I don't know that, and you don't know that. This theory could be wrong, but the fact that this is possible makes this movie even more interesting to me. It makes it even more interesting. So I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure she was on the set when Peter Parker had that big battle scene that they were filming, where he was, I'm pretty sure, fighting against the Punisher's tank. So if that's where she first pops up, I wonder what's going to happen. Is she going to use her powers on accident, or her powers going to be unlocked? If she is Jean Grey or any character, I don't know. But I am interested, and you know, I wonder if we'll see her. Like, what if we see her in a trailer? What if we don't? I just don't. There's a lot of questions, in regards to Sadie Sink's character, and I love the idea of them keeping it secret because we get to theorize and we get to come up with cool ideas about what we think. Um, so we'll just have to see what happens. Because, like, a lot of people are, yes, looking at Spider-Man as an importance, but when you have secret characters like this, it means something. You know, it means something. So I am wondering what's kind of going on from that angle over there. All right. So next thing we have here is Mr. Jackie Chan, the GOAT. So Jackie Chan is working on the set of Spider-Man. So according to an interview given to the Hong Kong publication HKO1, Jackie Chan revealed that his world-renowned Jackie Chan stunt team is working on the upcoming film Spider-Man Brand New Day. He also visited the set in London, where his team is acting as action directors. So let's break down this collaboration for you guys. So, as I said, he confirmed that his legendary team is managing the stunts. He already visited the set. Now let's talk about the previous partnerships with Marvel. There is not one. This is the first collaboration that we have ever seen. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Sorry, this is not the first collaboration between Jackie Chan's stunt team and Marvel. Um, the team previously handled the fight choreography for Shang-Chi, which was obviously praised for his action sequences. I love Shang-Chi, amazing movie. And now let's talk about the infusing like the Hong Kong action. The partnership is expected to bring Chan's like signature dynamic of acrobatic and creatively choreographed fighting action to Spider-Man, which will help honestly define Tom Holland's next era as Spider-Man, but also as a street level crime fighter. Now, here's what this also means for the movie: that we are going to get higher quality action, right? With the focus on practical stunts and Chan's style of creative choreography, fans are expecting a next level, action sequence, right? And multiple sequences that contrast with the CGI heavy fights of the previous MCU films. Now, Destin Cretton, his previous work, with the Jackie Chan stunt team on Shang-Chi gives us a clear vision that we are going to get high quality, authentic action. And I think he's going to deliver that with Spider-Man. Now, Jackie Chan is not an actor in the movie. There's no actor role confirmed. His involvement is purely through his capacity as an action director for the stunt team. Now, we all knew that, Destin Shang-Chi is insane, and I think this is going to be even greater because think about this, right? Imagine all of the Jackie Chan, scenes that we have seen throughout the freaking decades of him being an actor. Even think about the Shang-Chi scenes, right? Did you see what they did when Shang-Chi had the rings? Like, one of the greatest scenes of all time in third act history is when Shang-Chi did that freaking ring thing when he fought against that dragon, where he was literally walking and dodging the hits from the dragon. And like, do you guys remember that last scene where he's just walking, where he's running on the ring, jumping over the rings, using the rings to fly, you using the rings for balance, using the rings to like to dodge out the way? It was, bro, bro. Imagine what we're going to see with Spider-Man. If Shang-Chi was able to do that with ring, I gotta pull it up now. Hold on, because you guys don't hear me. So now I gotta pull it up. Hold on. Shang-Chi rings scene dragon, because y'all don't know what I'm talking about, and so now I gotta pull it up. I gotta pull it up because this scene was literally insane, bro. It was literally insane. I'm gonna turn the volume down, but this scene had me go nuts. Okay, where's that? Where's that? Oh, all right. I'm I'm gonna show you guys this because this scene is literally insane. The scene is literally insane. All right, let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, now we are going to. I want you guys to see what Destin Cretton is all about. And just imagine this with Spider-Man. Watch this. Watch this. Look at this. Look, look, look. Oh my, he's walking on the rings. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Look, bro. Just imagine. So look at this. Mind you, this is a human being using rings. Imagine what we're going to see with freaking Spider-Man, bro. With the same choreography team that which is Jackie Chan's choreography team working on Spider. Do you guys understand how crazy this movie is going to look? And Destin Cretton is smart because he's trying to set his, his mark as being the, as what, like, he's trying to set his mark about what makes him the best or like the newest Spider-Man guy, what sets him apart from Raimi, Webb, and now Watts. We got it right here. We are about to see the best fighting ever. By the way, James Gunn, James Gunn, you should hire that Jackie Chan stunt team to do your Batman stuff while you're at it. Just saying. Now, I don't know about you guys, but not just Spider-Man's combat, because no one's talking about the other side of this. What about the freaking Punisher? No one's talking about the hand-to-hand combat that we might possibly see that's going to be upgraded in Spider-Man Brand New Day with the freaking Punisher. No one's talking about it. So yeah, this movie's gonna be peak. I'm expecting peak. I'm expecting. I'm in it. Call me crazy. I am expecting the best fighting that we have ever seen. Before Shang-Chi, the best fighting I saw was Captain America. And you could go both. You could go Winter Soldier or Civil War. But if we're talking pure hand-to-hand combat, Civil War or not Civil War, what's it called? Winter Soldier was pretty much the GOAT for me. And Civil War was amazing because we got to see that fighting mixed with all of the the superpowered people and all that stuff. But this is going to be something entirely different. I mean, If Destin Cretton lands this, bro, this might be the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time. This might beat Spider-Man 1. This might beat Spider-Man 2. Y'all might call me crazy, but I'm just calling how I see it. So yeah, this could be insane. All right, let's get to the next thing. Benedict Cumberbatch talking about this guy Benedict, man. Okay, so in this month, Benedict Cumberbatch responded to questions about his involvement. Excuse me. In Avengers Doomsday, with a playful saying, "I wonder," like people like Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, let me just drink this. People like Benedict Cumberbatch, they troll so much. So like whenever he says stuff, I always be like, yo, he's trolling. But anyways, let's talk about the history of him. In January of this year, right? Cumberbatch appeared to confirm that Doctor Strange was not going to be in Doomsday due to story changes after Jonathan Majors firing. And then he also ended up retracting that statement a week later, telling them that he joked and he said, "Don't ever believe anything I say regarding Marvel news." And then this month, right? He really just evaded saying, "I wonder," while he was trying to promote his movie called like The Roses or whatever. Now let's talk about what this means. Number one, there's a secrecy going on. Benedict's recent comment aligns with the studio's practice of maintaining secrecy, often involving actors denying or joking about their roles to avoid spoilers. There's also some possible future plans, I think, right? Although there's, a, an assumption that he's going to be in Doomsday, right? There's obviously an assumption that it is, and Cumberbatch confirmed that, he's going to have a central role, right? In the Secret Wars, obviously, if you read the story, you know what I'm talking about. But he also hinted at a third film for Doctor Strange. So the nature of the role is very unclear for, like, if we're talking about story arc and all that stuff. Like, I have theories, but we don't really know, right? And I don't think Cumberbatch has been on set yet. Maybe he is after this, run that he's doing. I mean, they are filming for a whole other freaking year, so they have all the time in the world. So let's talk about Mr. Doctor Strange. I think Doctor Strange is in Doomsday, but I also think more things, right, are happening. And I can see a Doctor Strange movie happening right after Avengers Doomsday. One second, I gotta just let my dog out the room. You good? You good? I'm recording. There's a lot of noise. You good? All right. Sorry, y'all. I got a newborn, so he's crying. I heard a bunch of noise. Had to make sure that we was all good. Okay. So let's talk about back to what we're saying about Doctor Strange. Let's table the Doctor Strange movie for a second. Actually, no. Let's talk about it. So, do you guys think that yes, Doctor Strange is going to appear in Doomsday? I don't think he's going to have a crazy role, but do you guys think that we could be getting a Doctor Strange movie right in between Doomsday and Secret Wars? Now, a lot of people have talked about this, about that third movie, or that movie right in between could be a Doctor Strange, but now it seems more real because think about this though, y'all. Spider-Man was supposed to be the movie that was going to come out right after Doomsday, but now that's gotten moved up. And if you want to lay more groundwork, why would you go with a Doctor Strange 3? Because the Multiverse of Madness, in my opinion, I think to date is the most important MCU movie post Endgame. If we're talking about the multiverse, so you would do a Doctor Strange, and I'm pretty sure the movie almost made $1 billion, right? That movie went crazy. So why would you not want to go, and make the Doctor Strange 3 and link Doom to everything and make it all make sense even more? Because me personally, I don't really want back-to-back Avengers movies if they could do a Doctor Strange 3 with Doom and use that to finish the groundwork going into Secret Wars. I think that would be sweet. Because having, imagine having Doomsday, right? Secrete Doom as the villain, and then getting a Doctor Strange movie, and we get the perspective of how Doctor Strange joins Doom, and he gets to see a deeper look into the multiverse collapsing, building off, what was really shown to us in the Multiverse of Madness. As long as Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme, right? I'm so sick of Wong. Wong annoys me. But I think that, look, don't fall. Look, and I'm not trying to put like a race on it, but like what I've learned, like these British actors, they're some of the most sarcastic people ever. Okay, and a lot of times us Americans, because we take everything to heart for some reason, not me, but a lot of people take it to heart. We take everything people say and just think it's like straightforward. Benedict Cumberbatch has trolled so many times, so you got to take that with a grain of salt when it comes to him talking. And I'm only saying this because I've been covering him for a long time. when he's been with the Marvel, and you cannot hold on to things he says, bro. He's a troll, bro. He be trolling people. So we can't fall for that. Same thing with like Robert Pattinson, where people were like same thing, right? When Robert Pattinson said I didn't work out for Batman, everybody just wanted to clickbait and cry and complain. Do you really think the man didn't work out, bro? Come on, dog. He's trolling. He's trolling people. Because people ask dumb questions. People ask dumb questions. Like the man has literally said he's in Doomsday, and people are still asking him, is he appearing? The man said he is, bro. He retracted his own statement. Okay, he wasn't in the chair reveal. The dude said he's in it. If you had to go and retract your statement, you're in it, bro. Come on, man. All right. Next topic here. Namor. So the actor Namor Tanakueta, he ended up talking about Doomsday. So obviously he confirmed his return. He was on the freaking chairs. But he did warn that because they have a crazy ensemble cast, his and other characters' roles will be simpler and have less screen time. So obviously, let's talk about his casting because he did speak about this. He was on a Mexican talk show, which is super cool. But he revealed that he was not informed of the casting until just hours before the public announcement. He also said his U.S. agents were also unaware with the news arriving just before the live stream chair reveal. So he described his reaction as kind of coming up for air. And he was just, he's excited. He's excited to return to the MCU. And why wouldn't you want to be excited to return to the MCU? Now he did talk about the size of the cast. He talked about that there's over 20 characters. And Huerta explained that since, more than 20 characters are involved in the story, every hero will have a smaller role to make space for all the other characters and universes. And in regards to the simpler role, he said, he stated that this obviously makes his role much more simpler compared to his antagonist role in Black Panther Wakanda Forever in terms of like how much time and energy is involved. And he also talked about his interactions with other characters too, right? So obviously people ask for Namor and Sue Storm because like they are just like the gooners when it comes to those two. Now he said, okay, that he teased a potential interaction with Vanessa Kirby, and who plays Sue, noting that they share or he know that she's a great and spectacular coworker, and also teasing maybe some Fantastic Four stuff, right? And this exchange possibly could suggest that Namor and the Fantastic Four will have, not just scenes together, but maybe hint to a future where Namor might pop up in the next Fantastic Four movie. Now, are we going to see some hints to their romantic history, or are we going to see the start of their sexual romantic history? I don't know. But I wouldn't be against it because like the Namor and Sue stuff will forever be peak to me. So wouldn't be mad at that. Now Namor was great in Wakanda Forever. And look, I know a lot of us don't like Wakanda Forever. I am the biggest, you guys know I'm a recast T'Challa guy. You guys know that. But Namor was amazing. And I wish that he had a greater role in the MCU in general with forming the Illuminati. Thought it would have been perfect. But his role not being too pivotal, it makes sense in regards to like the MCU and what they need to focus on. And I still think he will have golden interactions with characters, and I hope that he still is a savage and that he still always puts the people of Talokan first. I hope that he still keeps that type of edge, and that's kind of the edge that he had in the comics, right? So hope he keeps that same type of thing. And I hope that they position him more to be in the Fantastic Four's next movie. I think that'll be fire. I don't think, and I'm not saying that Tanaka is a bad actor by any means necessary. He's a great actor, at least from what I've seen with him as Namor. But I don't think a Namor movie is where you go. I think you put him with other characters and you keep him that way, where he can pop up and just be himself. So I think you position him with the Fantastic Four, and like that would be insane, bro. A Namor with the Fantastic Four, like seeing that story happen in live action would be insane. So I would like something like that. That'll be my jam right there. So I like it. I like it. Now let's get to the next topic here, talking about the X-Men. Okay, so the X-Men director Jake Schreier. Okay, so he has officially begun working on the upcoming MCU X-Men reboot. While specific details about the project are scarce due to Marvel's infamous secrecy, right? Always being secret, Schreier has shared some insights into his approach and confirmed his lessons from directing Thunderbolts. I really think, let's get into this. This is some great stuff he said. So I'm going to summarize everything that he said because I'm not going to read the whole freaking article. So let's talk about the production and confirmation. Okay, so it's working has begun, as we know, blah, blah, blah. So in July 2025, right, Marvel Studios President Kevin Feige publicly announced that Schreier was going to direct the movie and confirmed that the writer, Michael Leslie, was also attached. Now, let's talk about the approach of this movie. It's going to be recognizably different. Schreier has talked about that his version will be just nothing like the Fox X-Men movies, and mostly because it's going to be a youth-focused reboot. And Feige talked about, revealing that the new X-Men will be a younger cast, so the direction will be felt younger and more like immature. I don't want to say mature, but it like this direction will be felt in the tone and perspective of the film that we are getting a young cast. This is going to focus on character and identity, right? Schreier told the playlist that the core material is inherently interesting and complex, and that will be and that will be the focus of the character. So they're going to be wrestling with their identity and place in the world as mutants. Now, from a comic accurate scale, the film will explore rich source material at the scale inherent, or let me just use the words that they use. I'm making up my own stuff. Like I'm using my own words, but their words said they are going to be scale inherent to the source material. Okay, and so this is a significant opportunity for the Marvel creative team to really do something with X-Men that could be crazy. Now, here are some things that we are likely to expect, right? New castings. Like, unlike Deadpool and Wolverine and Avengers Doomsday, which are bringing back legacy mutant actor, the MCU is this reboot is dedicated to casting new and younger people, and also people that have not that are not that well known. So they're going for actors where they haven't been in a lot of big stuff. This is some of their first big projects and movies. This movie is supposed to come out post Secret Wars, and and they will be coming after the conclusion of the multiversal saga of Secret Wars in 2027. And he believes that his youth focused perspective will help the film feel fresh and connect with the modern age and young audiences. Look, I think Jake Schreier is an amazing. Oh, by the way, I want to talk about some before I get into this. The other thing that Jake Schreier talked about that he learned from Thunderbolts was the balance of action with giving more meaty and character driven material for the movie. So I feel like maybe for the Thunderbolts, he felt like that was a learning lesson for him, and I think he's going to do a great job of trying to figure that out with the X-Men. Because with a group like that, you have to have that figured out somehow. Now, I think that Jake Schreier is an amazing director. I think the Thunderbolts is an amazing and magnificent and masterpiece of a movie. To take those bum characters, and I'm kidding, to take those characters and make them mean something, you have to be talented to do that. And Jake Schreier is going to do a great job of really focusing on all of the characters to make them be that. I'm really excited to see how he's going to work with Cyclops. Cyclops is the most anticipated character that I'm excited for. I really want to see Cyclops become a leader, but also be needing of love from Jean Grey, and not just being the lackey that just runs under her coattails all the time, but make him a actual respectful lover to Jean Grey. Because a lot of times I feel like they made Jean Grey the whore who is just, whoring around with Wolverine and Cyclops. And they always want to make her the whore who's who's trying to choose between them both. And that's not always how it is in the comics, nor even with some of the animation. Yes, everyone knows that Wolverine is strongly in love with Jean Grey, and he will for always love her, but Wolverine does back off at a certain point. You know what I mean? And I think that there's a respect between him and Scott where he's yo, that's your chick. I'm gonna back off to an extent. And so I hope that if we do get Wolverine in the X-Men, it's not the constant freaking Jean, Wolverine, and Cyclops love triangle. That pisses me off. I can't wait to see other characters too. You know what I mean? I hope we get Emma Frost, obviously Storm. My favorite X-Men, one of my favorite heroes of all time is Nightcrawler. I hope they do him right as well. I can't wait to see Alan coming back as Nightcrawler as well in Doomsday. I'm pretty excited about that. His character design looks pretty awesome. I saw the character designs with the red suit, so I can't wait to see that too. So yeah, man, Jake Schreier, I believe in you, and I can't wait to see more. I wonder if they're cast already. The rumors are that they're already cast. What if we get the cast announcement at D23? That'd be crazy, but I don't think it's happening. I think the next thing that's coming up news-wise is we're going to find out who's the rest of the cast in Avengers Doomsday. Now, let's get to some fantasy stuff here, and then we'll end with some Batman and Star Wars. Let's talk about the Weasleys, okay? So we get our first look at Catherine Parkinson as Molly Weasley in the Harry Potter TV series. I want to talk about why she looks great. So let's talk about this. So Many fans felt that the original film actors, while they were loved by a lot of us, including me, they did not fully capture the book's details for the family. And the reboot's casting decisions, right, suggest a greater attention to these details, right? So we are going to get a perfect Ron, okay? The casting of Alistair Slough as Ron Weasley was met with widespread approval by fans, and fans believe that his red hair and youthful appearance matched the description of Ron from the books. Also, the Weasley twins, Tristan and Gabriel Harlan, real life twins, were cast as Fred and George. A lot of fans were happy that the actors, they resemble a whole lot more to the book's description of Fred and George being, shorter and stockier than their film counterparts who were super tall. Now, Molly Weasley, right? She looked amazing and impressed fans with her cheery and really did her cheery disposition and look. Okay. And despite some noting that she may not appear as plump, I don't think people are going to care about that. But also, it seemed like we were going to get a more authentic family. So the newly revealed actors, right? They look more like a real family and feel well matched visually. There's a picture with all of the siblings, and they legit look like they could actually be related. I mean, it's actually insane. Now, they are also capturing the book's atmosphere in this too. I also want to talk about some other things, right? So we got some set photos from the King's Cross station that gave fans really a big taste of like the show's overall style. Um, the costume details, as I said, are also amazing. Like we also see Ron wearing a T-shirt from his favorite Quidditch team, the Chutley Cannons, which is a detail pulled straight from the books. I love the early 19th settings that we are seeing with the clothing. Like unlike the movies, which felt so 2000s, the HBO series is embracing the 1990s setting, and the costumes, they have such a retro feel that resonates with the fans who really grew up reading the books in that decade. But also, like, the one thing I love about her fit is that, like, even though it's 90s, it still looks outdated because they are kind of poor. So, like, it's super like authentic to me. And with the reboot aiming for, a more faithful and long form adaptation of the books, the castings of the Weasleys is seen really as a sign of commitment, that they are really trying to go for it. And the choices suggest that the, production team is really prioritizing book accuracy over star power, which is a quality that fans have long hoped for. A lot of like Harry Potter could have been cooked if they just went for like the best actors, making Timothy Chalamet older Harry Potter or something like that. Just a funny example I'm using, but they're actually choosing actors that look the roles to a degree and fit the roles the best. So with Harry Potter, I ain't tripping. I love what they're doing. So while we're talking about Harry Potter, let's talk about Mr. Chris Columbus because he pissed off a lot of fans yesterday. So I want to talk about what he said that pissed off fans and some other things that he said, because like I don't just want to highlight the dumb stuff that he said. He also said some good stuff too. So let's talk about why he's pissing people off. So people are criticizing Chris Columbus's comments about the Harry Potter reboot for several reasons. And it's largely centered on the idea that they come off kind of as defensive, and also that he's sort of missing the point of the new adaptation. So this backlash stems from his questioning the purpose of the new series, while kind of simultaneously complaining that Hagrid's costume is too similar to the one that they designed. Okay, so and like what he said is so contradictory, right? So during an interview, Columbus asked, like, what's the point of the new series after he saw Hagrid's costume, right? Is the exact same one his team designed for the original films. Now, while he also acknowledged that he is flattered by the imitation, right? Fans and critics also noted, right? Like that was a conflicting statement. And some see the criticism as hypocritical because Columbus's own film adaptations are super loved by fans. Like myself, I watch Harry Potter almost every day, like literally almost every day. But for but like, how can I say this? He took a lot of liberties with the book series, and that's why a lot of fans are calling him a hypocrite. You know what I mean? And others point out that it's natural for a reboot to maintain core visual elements, especially for a character like Hagrid. I mean, you don't really got to change much, because I mean, another thing that pissed off fans is like, people got to understand. A major reason for Columbus's perceived lack of self-awareness in this quote is that the original films, right, they did set the visual tone that has defined the franchise for the past 20 years. The look of the original characters, including Hagrid's costume, is now a part of the Harry Potter brand, right? So, and it's not just a part of the Harry Potter brand, it's it's a part of the merchandise, it's a part of the theme parks, and it's a part of the Harry Potter culture. All right. And by echoing the original design, the reboot is really simply just trying to appeal to the fan base and avoid alienating viewers from too many changes. And this also, right, in this quote, which is funny because he talks about this, which confuses me, right? He also, it seems like in this quote though, he's ignoring the need for a more faithful adaptation, right? So Columbus's remarks also face pushback because they ignored the most compelling reason for the reboot's existence, right? Which is to adapt the books more faithfully. Okay, the original films had significant time constraints, forcing the creative team to cut the important plotlines characters like Peeves and all the stuff like that, right? And the new show with the longer runtime is being promoted as a more comprehensive and faithful adaptation for fans who felt the films left too much out. And this isn't a cash grab. You know what I mean? And so for some, Columbus's comments confirm a widely held suspicion that the reboot is primarily a cash grab, and his questioning of the series point, it reinforces this cynical view that little will be new in the show, and it will exist mainly to profit from the existing franchise. When you have a voice like him speaking to like that, that's how it could really come off. You know what I'm saying? Now, I want to talk about some other things that he did say because, and this is why I think some of the perception, right, and all of this that I just said is not all of what I think he's saying, right? But I also do think that it's weird. So let me read this Deadline article of what he also said here, because this is what made me I was like, okay, this is super weird here. So let me read this. He said, okay. Okay, he says this. So I'm seeing photographs and he's wearing the same exact costume that we did design for Hagrid. Here, this part of me was like, what's the point? Columbus said, I thought everything was going to be different, but it's more of the same is all going to be the same. He continued, it's flattering for me because I'm like, that's exactly why the Hagrid costume was designed. So part of it is really exciting. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. Part of it is sort of like deja vu all over again. So that's one part that only really addresses what he said about that. But then I read another article, right? Which I'm gonna pull up here, and that was Deadline. Now let's talk about what Variety, because Variety said a lot more than just that. So hear this. Chris Columbus has zero desire to be involved in HBO's all-star small screen Harry Potter reboot. Okay, the filmmaker, arguably best known for launching the mega hit franchise more than 20 years ago, having directed the first two Harry Potter features and produced the third, claims he's long since graduated from Hogwarts. He said, "No, I've done it. You saw my version." He does Variety while in London to promote whatever. I'm not going to talk about his whole promotion for a film, but this is also something he said. There's nothing left for me to do in the world of Potter. Okay. He said, but that's not to say he's against the TV reboot. He may have recently spoken out against the idea of remaking his Home Alone movies, but he definitely approves the return of the Wizarding World. If anything, he's jealous. Hear this. That the great thing about it is that with the first and second and third book, we wanted to do it all. We wanted to bring all of that onto the screen, and we didn't have the opportunity, he says. Columbus references the characters Peeves from the first Harry Potter novel that never made it into the film. He said, we didn't just have the time to develop the character. Plus, a storyline where Harry and Hermione have to drink potions and worry that they may be poisoned. Here's another thing he said. We could never get that incredible scene into the film, and I'm sure it'll be in the HBO series. So for me, it's an opportunity to bring all those scenes to life, he says. For all the new detail, the TV adaptation should be able to include, all right, we already said that. I mean, let's let me talk about another quote that he said. I'm not sure if it'll piss off fans, but let's read it. It says this. Columbus references I am messing up here. Okay, it says this. For all the new detail the TV adaptation should be able to include, Columbus says that he did have a deja vu moment on seeing a recent photo of Nick Frost as Hagrid and young newcomer Dominic McLaughlin as Harry Potter shooting in the streets of London. He said, because it's exactly where we were 20 years ago, he says. We had to shoot it on a Sunday with Dan Radcliffe and Martin Bayfield, who stood in for Robbie Coltrane. And speaking of Radcliffe, whatever, we're not going to go on. So it's weird because in one quote, he says what he thinks, but then in the other quote, he kind of understands what they're trying to do. So this is my thoughts of all this. And sorry for the messy breaking down. When we do the clips, I'll edit this and make it make sense. This is what I think happened. I think bro just said how he felt. When he first saw the Hagrid, he got pissed off. Why? They're just copying what I'm doing, even though if you read the book's pretty close description. And, I think Chris Columbus understands why they're doing it. I think he understands why they're doing a reboot. He just didn't like. He felt like they were just copying it, and that was pretty much it. That was pretty much it. So I, as I said, fans could be pissed off. I mean, did I get annoyed? I got more annoyed because like, when people comment like this, right? When people do things like this, it gives fans more of a place to complain. So the fans that are unlawfully judging the Harry Potter reboot, calling it woke, calling it stuff, all this crap. When Chris Columbus says stuff like this, it gives them the cojones to go and do and just trash it more, make more videos of just hating the show without giving it a chance for us to actually see the freaking show. You know, I think that's why stuff like that annoys me, and that's why I think a lot of fans are annoyed. But I mean, it's whatever, bro. It's whatever. He pissed off fans. It is how it is. I mean, but he did end up saying, he ended up saying the fact that, he understands why they're doing it to add more that he missed, that he wasn't able to do. But Chris Columbus, remember, brother, I'm looking at you on my screen right now. You took a lot of liberties, So yeah, I ain't tripping about it though. I think Chris Columbus did a great job with what he was able to do, and we're going to see it. I don't want to say done right, but we're going to see a more faithful adaptation coming out, and we'll be ready for that. All right, now quick update with James Gunn's Batman. I am so sick of talking about James Gunn's Batman because it's the same thing every week. But you guys loved when we talk about DCU Batman. So let's go. Here's the weekly update on Batman. DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has confirmed that the DCU's Batman project, The Brave and the Bold, is still in development, but remains tight-lipped on casting. While promoting Peacemaker Season 2, he reiterated that the details are still fluid and the team is figuring out the character. Here's a summary of the latest updates from Gunn regarding Batman. Here we go. Confirmation of a distinct DCU Batman. He confirms to make it clear that a new actor will be cast to play the DCU's Batman in the Brave and the Bold, and this version of the character will be separate from Robert Pattinson's Batman, whose storyline will continue in Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2. Here's where we are with the script, okay? Gunn has confirmed that a screenwriter is hammering away at the script for The Brave and the Bold. Andy Muschietti is set to direct this, okay? This is going to be a father-son story. The film is expected to be a father-son story based on Grant Morrison's comic book run, including Damian Wayne as Robin. James Gunn told Screen Rant that some of the basics for Batman are known, but the plans still flew. He said that in August this month. There's no casting news. During a recent interview, James Gunn ruled out Chris Pratt playing Batman, but confirmed he is talking with several potential candidates. He stated that no official casting will be announced until the script is finished. Gunn has revealed that Batman already exists within the DCU, with Wayne Enterprises being one of the four major dominating corporations in the universe. A brief silhouette of the DCU Batman has also appeared in the animated series Creatures Commandos. We also saw a Gotham sign in driving out of Metropolis in the Superman movie. And in June 2025, James Gunn admitted that the Batman is his biggest issue in all of DC right now. The main challenge is creating a DCU Batman that feels distinct and necessary alongside the established beloved version portrayed by Robert Pattinson without being campy. This has led to the production team taking its time to get it right. So, yeah, that's everything. And I've said this 1,000. I'm gonna say it again. I don't think it's that hard to really make a distinct Batman. The second you bring in the Bat family, it makes them different. But I think the issue more of is, I think James Gunn's question. This is my assumption. He could say I'm wrong, and I'm not. And this is no knock on him. I think this is a true problem that it takes creative minds to figure out, is that when you're not just bringing in Batman, you're bringing in Nightwing, you're bringing in Robin, you're bringing in possibly Red Robin, you're bringing in Batgirl, Batwoman, all these characters. And I think that the question is not just where these characters fit in the movie, but also where could these characters fit after. Because what I've seen about James Gunn is that, at least from Superman, is that James Gunn isn't just a one movie man. When James Gunn made Superman, I 100% believe that a super family movie was already on his mind. And I say that because how fast he's already got the treatment done, and the script's probably already done. So I think that he's thinking also ahead in the future with Batman. I know he's worried about a good script, but as the president, right? You also have to be worried about what the future and where these characters are going to go, which is maybe why Teen Titans is possibly being talked about too, because he's like, okay, where do I put Nightwing? Where do I put Damian Robin? Maybe on Teen Titans. So there's a lot of different, situations and scenarios that they're going through, but they'll figure it out. I have faith that James Gunn will figure it out. And is it on the time frame that I want? Obviously not, because I'm a fan and I have every right to be impatient. But it is what it is, and I'm not really going to trip about it. But as I said, it's not on my timetable, obviously, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all about. It's really all about. How can I say this? It's really all about like just doing it right and doing it good, and I mean that's where for me everything lies in. Okay, so last thing here, okay, Star Wars Starfighter, man. We got some crazy news, and this came out today. Okay, so I was even let me pull out some notes I have on this really quick. I'm pretty sure I wrote some stuff down. Well, everything we know about Star Wars Starfighter. Hold on one second. Where's it at? Star Wars Starfighter. Let me just pull this up here. Let me see. Let me see. Every 1 second. And look, and by the way, that picture is fire. I mean, you can't tell me Ryan Gosling and that kid, they look dope together. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Like, bro, this movie is going to be insane. All right, Starfighter. Okay, now let's get into everything we know about Star Wars Starfighter because this is a really special project. I think it's going to be special. Okay, so here we go. Let's get to it. Director Sean Levy. He's known for the Adam Project, Double Wolverine. Jonathan Tropper is also working with Levy. He did the Adam Project. Okay, Ryan Gosling, lead role. Flynn Gray is playing Ryan Gosling's nephew, a young character who plays a significant role in the movie. Amy Adams has joined the cast in an undisclosed role. Okay, Matt Smith, one of the villains. Mia Goth, also set to play a villain with Matt Smith. Other castings, Aaron Pierre was announced today. Simon Bird, Jamil Westman, and Daniel Ings. Okay, they all have undisclosed roles. Now, while Lucasfilm has released no plot details, barely, here are some key factors that have been revealed. Okay, the movie is an original standalone story that is not tied to previous narratives. It's set in a previously unexplored time period, specifically, right, 5 to 6 years after the events of the Rise of Skywalker. And the story reportedly follows Gosling's character as he works to protect his young nephew, played by Flynn Gray, from multiple antagonists. Okay, so yeah, we get a first look at this black and white photo. Ryan Gosling looks cool, very Jedi-like, I think, or Force user-like. I like the little cape, but I wonder, like, this is going to show us a view into what the world is going to be. Is there a Jedi Order? Like, those are the questions that I have. Like, are we going to see all these types of characters and things? I don't know. Is Ray going to be in this? I don't know. A lot of people have said rumored that Ray's going to be in this, but I think Sean Levy wants to steer clear of Ray, man. I don't think he's going to do it. I think when he even negotiated for the movie, he said, "Yo, don't let me get Ray in this movie. It's going to kill my box office, man." And I wouldn't be shocked if he said that, bro, because I mean, I've said this all the time. Callie Kennedy's been dodging box office, man. But anyways, this art looks great. This photo looks great. I mean, it's just a black and white photo. So, but like Ryan Gosling already got aura. The aura is coming off of the charts, and I think this kid, I gotta see, but he might be something special. So yeah, I like everything I'm saying. Adding Amy and Aaron, W castings. So yeah, man, everything I've seen so far looks great, sounds great, and I wonder if for Sean Levy, this is his audition to do the next trilogy. What if it is? You know, might be a standalone, but they might build off of it to be maybe the future of what Star Wars is going to be, and like building the future off of freaking Ryan Gosling. I ain't got a problem with that. So, all right, that's all I got for today, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Um, we got content dropping every day, lore and news and all that stuff. So please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. All right. Have a wonderful day, y'all. Stay crispy and peace out.